Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be looking at playing around one of the mechanics in the game as well as just some other things that all go to sort of a similar goal. So what we're going to be looking to do today is one-shot some of the enemy roster. So there's a few different ways we can do that, and we've chosen Astra as our captain, mostly because of the Into the Breach ability, but partly because of Gross Cinder as well. But what we want to do is try and take enemy units out in one shot. So there's a few different ways we can do that in the list. So the first ones we can look at on the left hand side are some of the sort of more obvious ones. We've got Toxoid. Now the main thing I decided to build this around, Toxoid has poison, so what it does is when it damages a unit it reduces it down to 1 health. Now if we give it Battle Frenzy, so give it Pummel for the turn, it reduces it down to 1 and then deals 1 damage. So Toxoid can actually one-shot a unit with Pummel. So that's something that we're going to be looking at doing as well. With Astra we can give it Haste and you give it Charge and make it so we can do that out of nowhere. We've also got Tipu. So Tipu is also going to work well with Drumdancer Tlalli, but Tipu's in here because his attack power scales throughout the game, and we could potentially get him to the point where he can also one-shot units as well. Next we've got Furia. So Furia we just can sit at the back, tick her up until she's got enough damage to one-shot a unit. We could potentially try and go for one-shotting the enemy captain, but I don't think that's really going to be our strategy here. We just want that to be, an option for dealing with enemy crew. Micoani Thicket falls into the same bracket as Toxoid. It's because they both have poison, so both of these with Tlalli can end up one-shotting an enemy unit. Blindsider Eztli is in here because Eztli has the highest amount of attack damage in the game without having sort of any Cinder spent on it, so only Antios Gauntlet can even compare anyway, or things that are buffed by Amplified Bytol. And Eztli is in here because also with Drumdancer Tlalli, that's potentially 8 damage, which is enough to kill a lot of different units. Next we've got Broken Vengeance. So if you don't know what Broken Vengeance does, is if you place him in melee range of a melee unit, essentially they'll chain damage back and forth until one of them dies. So that can also one-shot units as well. And lastly we've got Necahual. So the reason we've got Necahual is because we can fully restore our units, but potentially if we have enough Cinder, maybe banked up from Astra's Cinder Orbs, we can return something to our bridge, use Astra to give it charge, and then attack again, and potentially even one-shot multiple units with one model in a one turn. So there's some really fun synergies here. I don't know how competitive it's going to be, but this is as close as Moonbreaker's got to sort of straight-up removal spells. So in a lot of other games you have ways that just instantly kill a unit, and this is going to be our attempt at doing so. So we're going to jump into some games, have some fun, and see what we can work out. So I'm not sure where this is going to sit in terms of competitiveness. We haven't really looked at a proper curve or anything like that. The ability to play Drumdancer Tlalli early is great, but the problem is that she's not necessarily going to be that useful in the early game, so chances are we're actually going to save her for the late game and use that early game period to play Cinder Orbs to build up to something a little bit bigger later on. And getting the ability to play multiple things in a turn, we still want Tlalli out earlier than some of the other units, because we need her to be on the battlefield to use that pummel ability. But there's, she doesn't need to be something we save to super late game. We just need to not have her die early on. So I'm going to see if we can just one-shot any units whatsoever. I think Furia is probably the easiest way of doing so, but with the other pieces coming together, there's some good consistency as well. The other option I was considering for this list was Crosshair, but I think to put Crosshair in, to consistently manage to do that, you'd need to be using Taria Arsenal, and I just don't think Taria provides enough to the game. Whereas if we put Tlalli in, there's at least 3 or 4 units that Tlalli can work well with. So let's see what we've got. So we were the second to drop. I'm trying to decide if that means we're going first or second, but we don't really know. So Escape Hatch only really gets us Thicket, which is fine. Stasis and Vortex is always good. Plink and Lifeline can be good. Plink is not as good if we're trying to one-shot people though. It is good however with our poison, but we're going to go with Stasis and Vortex. We're going to try and meet that goal. Okay, we're against Last Match. I've played Last Match a few times. They're quite a good player, so I'm not entirely convinced that we're going to be able to win this one, but we'll give it a shot and see what we can do. So they're playing Zax. I'm assuming this is probably going to be a Zax aggro list, but going second with Second Wind is actually quite nice for us. Yeah, so they're playing Maximus, so
just kidding.
We can get a medium angle here, but we're actually the weaker of the two. But this means it's hard for Maximus to get line of sight onto us, and it also helps us protect our Cinder Orb. However, given that Maximus can only move over here, I think if we just place a Cinder Orb, that's not quite out of range. So if we move up here, try and stay safe and see how safe we can place a Cinder Orb. So Maximus can get to there, so I don't think Maximus can get a good line of sight onto our Cinder Orb here. But it might even just be that we place it back here just to make it a little bit more difficult and protect it with our body. I'm not actually sure where the best spot is. I think this might be right. Because I think Maximus is going to find that hard to shoot. Then this is actually an angle they can do. Maybe this was... in fact, this actually sticks out further than I think, so yeah, I probably should have gone for there. If they got Vortex or Disruptor, that's fine, because it can potentially just take this out either way. Doesn't really change anything, and either way we're going to have Force in the next turn, and we can play something out that should hopefully start to be able to compete. So it's likely that we're going to play Broken Vengeance out first. The reason being is if Maximus attacks it, which they won't, because last match is a good player, but it means that Maximus can't attack Broken Vengeance. This looks like it's either going to be Vortex... yeah. So they were trying to pull that without pulling Astra, which is pretty reasonable. I think this is the right positioning to go for. Just take the shot, kill the Cinder. Yeah, they should hit. They missed both. Not only is that unfortunate on that front, but it also means that we could Into the Breach something straight onto them. Or we could potentially just... we can't quite play Thicket because it doesn't work in that you can get up to 6 in a turn, but... in fact, if we can get in range... you know what I think we're actually going to do here is we're going to move here, get the Cinder, we're going to Into the Breach, we're going to Vortex these closer together. I think that looked like it was going to move them. Yeah, it did. Second Wind. We're going to play our Tipu out just here. We're going to attack with Tipu first. And then, to be honest, probably just move Tipu over here and just try and get aggressive with it. And then Astra can then shoot this and move. I mean, we could go offensive, but I think defensively given this as well. That was a really good turn for us. We killed Maximus, we grew our Tipu, we've got it in offensive position. We're not directly in any line of sight immediately. And we can potentially start, ticking him up and trying to get more damage. We're only 1 turn away from stasis, so if we can keep him alive that long, that works as well. And then next turn we're probably playing Blindsider Eztli. The other option is playing Drumdancer Tlalli and placing a Cinder Sphere, which is also useful as well, but with them having Vortex next turn, that's going to be pretty difficult for us to use effectively. So here they're just moving back and trying to get line of sight onto Tipu, which is pretty reasonable, but to get line of sight it looks like they're going to likely have to be in range unless they go in this direction. So I'm perfectly happy with them trying to attack Tipu here. Yep, they got two damage. Can they get out of range and still attack Tipu is a question. It doesn't look like they can. Maybe over here. Yeah, here they can, just about. So that way we can just run Tipu and be safe. But this is not an easy decision for them. Because if they're running over this way, we can just run in a different direction. I'm not sure what I think I probably would go here and just try and take this shot. Yeah, I think that's the right choice. I'm not sure I'd have used the additional Cinder though. It depends what their plan is. Okay, so they are on the aggro plan. This is fine. All we essentially need to do here is try and keep Tipu alive for 1 additional turn. Because that's going to be how our game plan is going to go. I'm thinking it might even be time to use Tlalli and then try and use a Cinder Sphere, but we kind of want to save that for when they don't have access to Vortex. So I'm actually going to play Eztli here. Although this puts us down to 4 next turn, that doesn't really give us anything good to do next turn apart from haste Toxoid, but then again that can be good with Astra on their own anyway. So do we have a good line of sight over there? We absolutely do not. But it could just be that playing Eztli in that direction is a better option. Or we could even just place Eztli over here, because they've got Vortex so they can probably get Antios onto it, which puts us at lethal range, so I actually think here we probably just want to place Eztli back in this direction. And maybe even just play it safe and try and hide a little bit more back here. I think we'd be being greedy to do any more than that. It's very possible they could just kill Tipu here, but if they can't, next turn with Vortex and Stasis Field, it's very likely one of our 2 big melee units can get into range. So, I mean, it might be over 2 turns, but either way. We've got 6 Cinder next turn, which puts us in the position to haste Broken Vengeance, so if they move Antios up too far, then we're absolutely going to be moving Astra up, hasting Broken Vengeance, vortexing them together, and we're going to go for our first one-shot of the list. Okay, so they're going to go for just the shooting one shot with these two. So, yeah, they're going to get Deadeye here. So we're basically relying on a miss from Zax. It's very unlikely to be the case. And I think they're quite likely to move up aggressively as well. But again, 6 Cinder next turn puts us in some very interesting threat ranges. And I would also consider probably the Toxoid Astra combo maybe a one-shot. Is this actually in line of sight? I think it is. It looks like it. This should be a hit anyway because it's so far away. Yeah, so they got 83% chance, and then this is almost 100. Yes, 100 at least. There we go. And this should be probably dead. That's another miss. Oh, that's not good news for them. Especially with Stasis Field, that's a huge downside for them. So they need to either find something else to kill it now, or they're just kind of out of luck here. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is we're going to try and do maybe even 2 different things. But I don't know if we even need to. So we could actually give Tlalli... So we can play Tlalli out for 1. Into the Breach is 3-4. 6 Cinder. So we could actually give Tipu Pummel and potentially just kill their Deadeye in one go. So you know what? We're here for the one-shots. Let's have some fun with it. So we're going to start with Into the Breach. Gain some additional Cinder. Drumdancer Tlalli. Tlalli can Battle Frenzy Tipu. Tipu can move over here. We'll Vortex these in together. Tipu can double grow. Then we can Stasis Field Tipu. Oh no, Stasis Field's the wrong one! Oh, we're gonna have to Stasis Field Antios. Oh dear, that was a terrible mistake. So we'll grow Cinder over here. And we'll send Eztli in this direction, I guess. Astra can take a pot shot. Tlalli can move up here as well. I misplayed that quite largely because I thought this was Nano Shield instead of Stasis, so I've definitely done that wrong. However, we have given ourselves a reasonable chance of leaving Tipu alive next turn, and we've made up some aggressive movements forward. So we have got very good potential of one-shotting a unit next turn again, especially with Tipu growing double strike on that front. We've actually got on the board right now 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19 damage. So potentially with an Into the Breach, Toxoid, we might have this, but we're obviously going to likely lose something here. Okay, Corrosive is a big deal here. Oh, but they're not quite in range of anything. Oh, that's really awkward, because the only thing they can potentially take out in this case would have been with Antios, and Antios is stunned. So they're just going to have to go with... Oh, okay, they've got their Gravity Disc, of course they do. And then they're going to use Pummel here.
Pushy.
Yeah, this... Okay, not Pummel, just going to attack twice, yeah. So they can save their Cinder for something else.
No risk, no fun.
So what's fun here is that there's a good chance that we might be able to... Oh, they're playing Quetzali, okay. So again, we can double grow this. And we've got access to 7 Cinder this turn. I mean, I think we start just by... Okay, so we can get in range here. And we can pop ourselves in here as well.
Your adrenaline roars!
Oh, we got the victory, yeah. I think this was really unlikely to be able to survive from here, but we could just grow Tipu twice. We did actually get our one-shot off at least once. We had more coming as well, because the other option was we could have played Toxoid and given that Pummel as well. So that went out quite well. Ooh, Sparks. I like leveling up my account. I feel like I'm falling behind in levels, given how much time I spend in this game. I feel like I'm falling behind in levels compared to some of the other players, but I think they play a lot more PvP, whereas I spend my time basically trying to come up with new lists, testing ideas out very slowly. I play some like AI games to test things out. I play some cargo runs off camera. So my player level's probably going up a lot slower than other people with an equivalent amount of time in the game. I also do think a lot of people play more time than I do, just in general. my log time on Steam is really distorted because I've had a lot of time logged in for varying other reasons than actually playing the game, so you know, I should probably not feel behind. I'm still a fairly high level compared to most players. So we're against Zax. There's every chance it could be last match again, which would be interesting if it was, because again, we know what they're coming up with, and we've got some interesting choices here. So here we've got Stim Burst Stowaway, but I think Lifeline Disruptor is really powerful, and we don't really want to stow away because we're using our units for a reason. Stun and Escape Hatch is also fine, but let's try this. Is it last match again? No, it's Mori 4C. Okay, I've played against Mori before as well. I mean, I've played against a lot of the players here. It's just because I remember the name. Report and hide paint jobs. We're just going to greetings.
Welcome to Fruto!
Okay, so we can move up there for a reasonable shot, but in reality I think I'd rather just pop over here and grow a Cinder in an awkward spot for them to try and push out the way. So the best they can do if they've got a push here is probably push it down here and get a shot onto it, but that's using their entire turn's resource, and again, we're going second, so we're going to have a lot of access to things next turn. Depending on how aggressively they deploy, we might be able to bring out a Tipu if they play a Maximus or something like that, or what else have we got? I mean, potentially just playing Furia and another Cinder Orb is quite good to sort of build up for a potential one-shot next turn. We've got... I mean, we could even into the Breach Blindsider Eztli, which works. Get ourselves a 4 damage, so if they play something with 5 health, we can potentially do that. They did. So the question is, do we go for it? Oh, if this is another thing, especially if whatever this is has 5 health, we're probably going to go for Blindsider Eztli and try and one-shot that. Okay, it's not. So the question is, do we push that down here and try and go for it? Can we get to this side of the Cinder? I think we could do this. The other option is playing a 4-drop, it's Broken Vengeance. I think we go for the one-shot. It's what we're here for. Oh, did I push it too far? Okay, no, I don't think I pushed that too far. We do need to hit this attack, though. We missed. That's pretty bad news. Okay, so that changes things quite drastically. Interesting. In that case, I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to place a Cinder Orb down
My dad would not
over here.
approve.
I'm going to grow our Cinder, and I'm going to play Furia out and try and go for a one-shot next turn on something else. Or maybe even this again, because this also presents 5 damage.
Something sounds imminent.
So that was a 77% chance to hit. If we'd have hit that, we'd have been in a really good spot to maybe take it out, but we didn't. So this is where I'm expecting to see something like a Rickety Backfire showing up, because Rickety is very hard to deal with sometimes. But I also feel like there's a good chance if we could move in here, we can move this way, and maybe even just get a different route to killing this somehow, even if it was just with something like... I mean, we could get Blindsider Eztli and hope for a crit. It's very unfortunate we missed that 77%, because that's what we were trying to work at in this game, was our big shots. But with Furia ticking up, this is fine, because we've got Lifeline. In 2 turns we can heal her if we need to, and we've also got Disruptor to get better lines of sight. If they play something down here, Blindsider Eztli is likely to be able to kill most things, or we could even just move Furia out to take a big shot at something if we need to. Because I don't want to feel like Furia has to be ticking up for ages. That's not really the style of game I want to play. What I want to be playing is... Okay, is this going to be like a Beatrice or a Rickety? Because this looks like it could be a Rickety, and given this list... Yeah, that's a Rickety. Okay, so we know what we're going to do here.
Not a waste.
We can get line of sight. I think, again, we're going to go for the shot first, try and get... Okay, perfect, we've got the crit. Fury can defend us over here. Into the breach. Play our Eztli, who should be able to get in range of Rickety and just straight up end that thing. It can indeed. There we go. So that was essentially a one-shot there, because we did it in 1 turn. Not quite the way we're going to do it, but we just want to be taking out units as quick as possible. So Furia's ticking up over here with 8 damage and now Disruptor next turn. That puts us in a really good spot. Excellent. So that's another victory. I think that was we put them in a spot where we just had the ability to kill most of the things that they played out. This actually done really well. Like, this is 2 games, 2 wins versus 2 good players, and I think this might be, you know, a bit of a better track record than I was expecting. So I'm really keen to see this. Like, I'm really glad it's worked out so far, and hopefully it can continue doing so. I think the ability to just put pressure onto units that quickly, especially with Astra when we're getting Big Cinder, we have got the bigger units to use later on, is really, really powerful. And again, so I would like to kill things in one hit, which we didn't get to do fully that game, but we nearly did. I mean, we're taking units out on the turn they were deployed, which is about as good as you can ask for, really.
Watch and learn.
So, absolutely happy with this. And I do think, you know, Blindsider Eztli and Astra together do work quite well, because that 4 damage out of nowhere and the ability to just finish something off is beautiful. Okay, so this is a lot more difficult. I think we want to go Cinder Infusion Escape Hatch just to try something different. I'm avoiding Plink on purpose because I don't think that quite works as a classifying as a one-shot. Okay, we're against Mori again.
Ready for my close-up.
And we're against Maximus this time. Okay, so we've got no line of sight onto Max. So I think here we are literally going to be trying to defend our Cinder Orb. So Maximus can move quite a decent direction. So what we're going to do, we're going to play it over here, and we're going to grow Cinder back in this corner. So there shouldn't be a good angle for Maximus to get onto the Cinder Orb without trying to just attack us. So this is about as safe as it can be. Yeah, I mean, that's a good angle from there. That 8% minus, I think that's pretty reasonable. Okay, they did get the hit. They should have got that, to clarify. That's not me feeling, oh, they got a hit on us. Yeah, they deserve that. That's about right. So I think, depending on what they play, is probably a Rickety. Is it going to be Rickety? Because Rickety feels right. Yeah, there we go. So what we're going to be looking at doing here with 4 Cinder is probably playing something along the lines of either Blindsider Eztli and Tlalli, or just playing Broken Vengeance. And I think, given that they're going to need to get nearer to us, and we need to get some line of sight onto things, I think we just have to take the shots onto Max and see what happens first. Because if we hit this... Okay, we did hit this. So we've only got 4 though, not 5. So I think we are going to just... If we had 5, we'd have hasted Blindsider Eztli over there. That's the difference between making our Cinder Orb or not. We can't protect our Cinder Orb particularly well anyway. So we're just going to plop Blindsider Eztli over here, and Drumdancer Tlalli over here, and we're just going to keep moving in this direction and bringing them towards us. Okay, Stim Burst is terrifying. They can get angles onto our Eztli, it looks like. Yeah, so this is going to be probably 6 damage to the face, plus 2, plus another 2. So there's a good chance this ends us here. Yep. So this is just absolutely full aggro. But this is about what we expected. But now, given how they've left the board state, it's not out of the realms of possibility that we can start trying to just clean up some of this. So it's going to be hard to do it with what's her name? Oh my god! Where's my brain gone? Her, Tlalli. Okay, lifeline. Yep. So we can kill Rickety. It's going to have to be Drumdancer onto that. Get the infusion. We can bring down Thicket. I think this is the sort of game that we lose. I think we're going to be playing Toxoid as just a value model around here, if we can, but I don't think we can actually afford to either. Actually, no, we might be able to, because if we play Toxoid somewhere defensive, move this up slightly, move Eztli in an attack, Astra back attack, back again, I think that puts us in a reasonable spot.
Anyone want ammo?
Okay, so they got Taria, so we absolutely do need to try and run while getting good attacks in. So we're going to move back here. We are going to play Toxoid. It's not a good use of Toxoid, but it's what we're going to need to do. We're going to move Eztli over... Oh no, that's the wrong place to play Toxoid as well. That's just blocked my line of sight. That was incredibly stupid. Okay, so let's just go with this. 72. Yeah, we deserve to miss that, I'll be honest. So we're going to body block multiple times. And I guess we just put the Cinder Infusion on... Probably on Toxoid, because it's going to be harder for them to... Actually, no, you know what we do? We're going to Escape Hatch first. Oh, it's not even going in front. And we're going to Cinder Infusion on that.
Excellent.
This is a pretty rough spot. We messed this up pretty drastically. We could have, even it would have been better to place Eztli here, and so the blow up would have killed Rickety. That's another option we didn't even think of. That would have been a better choice there, to try and take out Eztli and take out Rickety using their own mine. Now with Taria on the battlefield, we are dead. I mean, if there's any justice in the world for Mori 4C, we should be dead here. They should be dealing probably enough to kill most of our units, but if I were them, I'd be activating first to get it all in range. Yeah, this is a waste if you ask me. I think... Oh no, because it's going to explode, so it might not even live, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It didn't have that option. They can probably kill this just with shooting. It would be slightly bizarre if they didn't. So maybe we're not as far out of this as I thought. You know, we're still not in a good spot by any means. But next turn we can play maybe Broken Vengeance or Tipu. We're not going to have much Cinder. That was a good play. That doesn't waste their damage anymore, so Taria can get into range. Toxoid is a little out as well, so they can take Toxoid down to 2 in theory. Yeah. Oh, okay, down to 1 against Rapid Fire. But they did miss one. What's this? This can't be an armoured unit because it's small, so whatever they place here, Toxoid's going to hit. Oh, Scattermine. I mean, sure. Okay, so we're not quite in range. So this is going to die next turn. Toxoid can't get in range of anything else, so we might as well do this. Move over here. Get our shot off. Move again. Can Thicket do anything useful here? Honestly, probably not. Can Tipu or Furia? I mean, Necahual might even be useful at some point, but I think it might even be the case here that we haste Broken Vengeance and give ourselves another Cinder Orb and just start chipping away at their Maximus. So that's what we're going to do. Into the breach. Broken Vengeance. And we're going to chip away at whatever we can get to, but if we can get a good line of sight on Maximus, that's what we're going to take, because a crit just kills him. We did miss. But we could grow a Cinder over here. And Thicket's just going to make some progress in this direction. Make it harder for them to deal with us. Stim Burst means we're probably dead, because we've got 4, 5, 6, 7 damage coming our way immediately, and we're on 9. But they could start going for our units, which is kind of what we want here. Okay, so this is... If I were them, I think I'd have Stim Burst first, move over here, and potentially gone for lethal. Because that would be 4, 10, 12... Yeah, 12 damage onto us. So they can go for Thicket here if they want to. But yeah, okay, going onto us makes more sense, as long as they are still in range to do so. Interesting. I mean, this is... We're very far behind, but this is giving us time to come back. And they get that as well. And now Maximus can move, and then Taria come in for the final hit, I assume? Now the question is, we're nowhere near getting Vital into range, unfortunately. Yeah, into getting Broken Vengeance into range of Vital. I think they're just relying on Stim bursting us next turn. Okay, so what can we do here?
Don't worry, the tree.
We've got 8 Cinder. Honestly, this is ridiculous, but I think we might even be going for into the breach.
Get in the game.
Playing Necahual here.
We need your expertise.
Skipping over for extra Cinder.
For sale.
Moving over here and getting our attack in while we can. Evacuating
light and water.
This. Moving Broken Vengeance over here to try and get a shot off. In fact, we're going to move as far up as we can, because we want to try and get into range for Vital next turn. We'll get our ranged attack, I guess. I guess we might as well do this. We could have moved this first, but move back this way. In fact, that should have stayed in front. That's the biggest mistake I've made so far. We should have left Necahual here, and we could have potentially lived, but now I think we're almost definitely dead. That was a huge mistake. Which is a shame, because I think this game, we weren't out of it completely. We're not in a good spot, but we've got Thicket back up, and we can place it down again for free, but they've got the access to What is this going to be? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 range damage here. So, but unless they don't notice and they go... Okay, yeah, they've absolutely got this. There's no world in which they don't... Ooh, unless they go for... Unless they go for Broken Vengeance. It does look like they might be going to. I mean, unless they're just trying to get things into position. If they go for Broken Vengeance, we're absolutely fine with that. Okay, so they're not going for us. I mean, I think they've still got enough damage if they really went for it. No, maybe not. And if they keep Bytol in range here... Yeah, so we can one-shot Bytol, we can get one of our one-shots off. That's what we wanted. Like, this is absolutely what we want. We want Bytol in range. Zax can't move. They've used all of their refreshes. We're not dead yet. This is dead. Oh no, he went out of range. It's down to... Well, I was not expecting that to be a turn. I'm very sure we were dead there, but... Let's one-shot Bytol quickly.
Get cozy with regret.
And what can we do with 8 Cinder? We can haste Thicket. Well, is this Taria, isn't it? So we need to kill Taria.
My dad would not approve.
But we need to kill Maximus as well, so... Let's move over here. Kill Maximus. So move over here. This is all fine. They've only got 4 damage on the board now. So we can haste Tipu and start going for that. I think we kind of need to. So let's into the Breach Tipu and just try and start growing things up. Pin them in place. We'll put this onto Tipu because it doesn't really matter. We'll escape hatch. And we'll grow a Cinder Orb. I'll put a Cinder Orb over here. Over here, make them go for something irrelevant. And we want to keep Necahual here. Because we need to make them shoot Necahual. So, they've only got 4 units left in the game. We just need to find ways of making sure that we're not just taking all the damage on our captive. Yep, this is not an unreasonable choice. But they still need to find ways of dealing with Tipu. So we can obviously start working on Quetzali with Tipu, which is the plan, but next turn we've still got Furia. So that's 2 damage. Micoani Thicket we didn't really want to be there, but we can pull something towards it. I don't really know what we do completely, but depending on how far they move, we could be able to get Tipu to start just trying... We need to take out, basically, Quetzali. Because if we don't take out Quetzali, they can run away from us forever, and we don't really have any range, apart from just saving up Furia. The issue is, do we have anything that can do this in 1 turn?
Let's get you loosey-goosey.
I don't think Thicket's got the range. This is probably a mine.
Can't rush an
But again,
artist.
playing a mine just means Tipu grows a bit more, and we do...
That looks...
Aria is their last couple of units, along with Savria. Okay. Interesting. So given that those are all this direction, we can actually just move over here and try and get an easier line of sight. Less line of sight, but still getting in range of the mine. We can get onto this and deal 4 damage, which then puts us at 7 life. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they've easily got that if they go for it. Astra's just going to move over here.
Whoa,
Can we get Broken Vengeance into anything here? So I think Broken Vengeance comes this side and starts trying to chip away at things. So let's try and take out Aria here. We can't get into anything except for Quetzali.
need a share.
Can Micoani Thicket get in range of pulling anything? We can pull the mine. That's probably worth it. And Astra can just shoot that. And then I guess we do just start going in. We can't get in range of anything else. So yeah, Tipu kind of just has to go for Quetzali here. And then we're just going to play
Whoops.
Furia
Did I
over
trigger
here.
something?
I ache for
And a Cinder Orb
battle.
over here. And just start trying to move our way forward, I guess.
Over soon.
I think they've still got a good chance of getting lethal onto us, but...
Seems secure.
Okay, so this is an obvious combo that I missed. Yep, they killed us there, so they got the one shot. It's a one shot. I'm happy with that. That's kind of what we want to see. They can get very close to taking Tipu down. We can potentially... So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have got 7 damage here, if everything goes to plan, which it should do. I don't see any reason why not. Yeah. So Arya shoots first.
On what you're made
If they get any crits as well, this is even easier for them. Yeah, missed the 97. Okay, and then they do have to expose themselves slightly at least, which is better than nothing. But we've lost our only real win con left. So the question is, can we get Furia anywhere near over here? We can obviously pick up our Cinder there and pull the mine towards us, but that's about it we can do with Thicket.
Pushy, pushy.
And they're going to place... Is that another mine there? Oh, they're just moving there. Okay. So our lack of options here is pretty awkward. But then again, you could just try and keep Furia alive and go for a big hit. Wait, is this not... Okay, so it is in line of sight of that, I believe. Let's just go as far forward as we can. Yeah, so we can trap that prey. 91%.
Watch how to
And then-
use this.
So Furia can live, but we need to just take out their units somehow. I don't really know if we've got a good way of doing this, I'll be honest. I feel like what we're going to have to do is just... There's nothing Furia can hit apart from Savria for not enough damage to kill her, so I think our game is actually just to place a Cinder Orb like down here and make it as hard as possible for them to shoot our Furia.
I'll control
Yeah,
your
I think that's it.
moving.
I think this is all we've got
My
here.
pain will be your end.
Furia's just ticking up slowly. Yep, Stimburst. This is so Stimburst with Quetzali. We are almost 100% dead because they've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have got 9 damage. They just need to be able to get it all onto our captain. Oh, they're going to go for Thicket. Yeah, they're just chewing us down bit by bit until we've got nothing left. They're going to be absolutely just take us out. They can even just go this way, use the ability first and move that way. Or they're just going for it.
Don't mind the woman behind the big...
Yeah, so that's... This is about as expected. I mean, there may be a world in which you can find a line to pull someone forward, but yeah, they need to get... I guess they can keep moving as well, can't they, of course? The question is how many refreshes... They've got no refreshes left on movement, so Savria can't get in range at least. They can place a mine, which stops pretty much everything that we'd want. And then I think that's probably game over from here. We'd have some really serious issues if this was not enough to kill us from here.
To the safety zone.
I mean, there is a line where we might be able to see something in that direction. Can we get... See, we can get there, we can't pull them. Not enough range to pull something around. So unfortunately, I think this is a GG for us here, because our trap prey only reaches this but doesn't pull it there. Can't quite reach these, so we're just going to have to be hitting this. Poking that. And honestly, growing another Cinder here. And I think the only thing we've got left to do is trying to find a way to get Furia's damage high enough that we can one-shot them. And I don't think they're going to give us a line of sight ever again. So we're going to play this out just in case they make a big mistake. I mean, a crit on this and a crit on this is technically lethal onto Zax if they miss a bunch of shots. But we know that we can't win. If they put a single shield onto Zax from Savria, we just have to concede at that point. So if Savria moves over here, puts a shield on, there's not really anything we can do. So we'll just pass the game, concede the game at that point. They're very close to killing us. This was a great game. Really, really intricate. A lot of fun movement to play. to play around with. I thought we were dead very early on, and we nearly came back. This list feels like it could do with something like a Neck Divine would have been a huge difference, healing that thicket every turn, even if they were blocking us with mines. Would have been great. Oh yeah, this is... So there we go. So now, Furia has to come out to play, or we've got no chance whatsoever. If they move to here, that's probably one of the only chances we've got of actually trying to get in range, but if they stay there, we can't win. So let's see what they do. If they put a shield on, we'll call that GG. Oh yeah, because they can move twice. They've still got Quetzali activations left. One activation left. So yeah, placing the mine there is good, and if they stay there, there's nothing we can do. This, however, is a mistake. If they do that, that might even be a mistake, because they could even give us an option to come back in. It's very unlikely. I mean, they got the Cinder, so... Double
Don't
crit.
worry. The tree
You need to
gave
crit here
us
and then
these.
crit on that for maximum damage. We didn't.
You're a killer, chauffeur.
So let's just go for the biggest shot we can.
Open wide.
77. We got it. Down to 3. We just don't have any other way of dealing with this. So these two are touching, so this should explode. We pop a Cinder down in here. This is the best we've got. Oh, that might have even been too close. I might have collected it. We didn't. We're going to make them play it out. They can heal Zax now is the problem. But they were very, very close to losing that game. As in, they weren't. I say that numbers-wise they were, but in terms of how the game works, absolutely not. We should be 100% dead here. There is nothing that they should be able to do that keeps us alive. I don't know why they haven't been turning onto Astra, because if they turned onto Astra a while ago, the game would be completely over. But killing Furia makes sense, because it's just my last win con. But yeah, this is where they need to be. Kill me, down to 4. And then whatever Furia has to offer. Can they get in range? Oh, they've blocked in. So they can move up. Can move in with this. Does that actually use up their last? They've got plenty of movement left. So Zax can get this last shot in. So if I were him, yeah, you can just move to here and then move other angles. Get the 90. Ah, it's 100%. I will say, Mori 4C, that was a fantastic game. Really enjoyed that. It came down a lot closer than I thought. I didn't think we were going to have any of this with Zax pulling himself out, but what a great game. So there we are. We've had a few games. We've managed to one-shot a couple of units. We've had one of ours one-shot. It's absolutely what it was meant to be. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys can try this list out. Let me know what you think. And if you've got any thoughts, pop it in the comments below. And most importantly, please do subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. I'm really trying to push to get myself towards 250 subscribers on the long journey eventually to get to 1,000 and be able to hit that YouTube monetization. So it would be fantastic. But other than that, I'm just really enjoying the game. I'm going to keep making content regardless. It's just that's a really good way of supporting me if you feel like you want to. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I definitely did. And most of all, have a good day.